All right.
There's a story of a young but earnest Zen student who approached his teacher and asked the master, "If I work very hard and diligently, how long will it take me to find Zen?" The master thought about this, then replied, 10 years. The student then said, "But what if I work very, very hard and really apply myself to learn fast? How long then?" Replied the master, "Well, 20 years. "But if I really, really work at it, how long then?" asked the student. 30 years, replied the master. "But I do not understand," said the disappointed student. "At each time that I say I will work harder, you say that it will take me longer. Why do you say that?" Replied the master, "When you have one eye on the goal, you only have one eye on the path." This is the dilemma I faced within the American education system. We are so focused on a goal, whether it be passing a test or graduating as first in the class. However, in this way, we do not really learn. We do whatever it takes to achieve our original objective. Some of you may be thinking, well, if you pass a test or become valedictorian, didn't you learn something? Well, yes, you learned something, but not all that you could have. Perhaps you only learned how to memorize names, places, and dates to later on forget in order to clear your mind for the next test. School is not all that it can be. Right now, it is a place for most people to determine that their goal is to get out as soon as possible. I am now accomplishing that goal. I am graduating. I should look at this as a positive experience, especially being at the top of my class. However, in retrospect, I cannot say that I am any more intelligent than my peers. I can attest that I am only the best at doing what I am told and working the system. Yet, here I stand, and I'm supposed to be proud that I have accomplished this period of indoctrination. I will leave in the fall to go on to the next phase expected of me in order to receive a paper document that certifies that I am capable of work. But I contest that I am a human being, a thinker, an adventurer, not a worker. A worker is someone who is trapped within repetition, a slave of the system set up before him. But now, I have successfully shown that I was the best slave. I did what I was told to the extreme. While others sat in class and doodled to later become great artists, I sat in class to take notes and become a great test taker. While others would come to class without their homework done because they were reading about an interest of theirs, I never missed an assignment. While others were creating music and writing lyrics, I decided to do extra credit, even though I never needed it. So I wonder, why did I even want this position? Sure, I earned it, but what will come of it? When I leave educational institutionalism, will I be successful or forever lost? I have no clue about what I want to do with my life. I have no interest because I saw every subject of study as work, and I excelled at every subject just for the purpose of excelling, not learning. And quite frankly, now I'm very scared. John Taylor Gatto, a retired school teacher and activist critical of compulsory schooling, asserts, "We could encourage the best qualities of youthfulness, curiosity, adventure, resilience, the capacity for surprising insight simply by being more flexible about time, text, and tests, by introducing kids into truly competent adults, and by giving each student what autonomy he or she needs in order to take a risk every now and then. But we don't do that. Between these cinder block walls, we are all expected to be the same. We are trained to ace every standardized test, and those who deviate and see light through a different lens are worthless to the scheme of public education, and therefore viewed with contempt." H.L. Mencken wrote in the American Mercury for April 1924 that the aim of public education is not to fill the young of the species with knowledge and awaken their intelligence. Nothing could be further from the truth. The aim is simply to reduce as many individuals as possible to the same safe level, to breed and train a standardized citizenry, to put down dissent and originality. That is the aim in the United States. To illustrate this idea, doesn't it perturb you to learn about critical thinking? Is there really such a thing as uncritically thinking? To think is to process information in order to form an opinion. But if we are not critical when processing this information, are we really thinking? Or are we mindlessly accepting other opinions as truth? This was happening to me, and if it wasn't for the rare occurrence of an avant-garde 10th grade English teacher, Donna Bryan, who allowed me to open my mind and ask questions before accepting textbook doctrine, I would have been doomed. I'm now enlightened, but my mind still feels disabled. I must retrain myself and constantly remember how insane this ostensibly sane place really is. And now here I am in a world guided by fear, a world suppressing the uniqueness that lies inside each of us, a world where we can either acquiesce to the inhuman nonsense of corporatism and materialism or insist on change. We are not enlivened by an educational system that clandestinely sets us up for jobs that could be automated, for work that need not be done, for enslavement without fervency, for meaningful achievement. We have no choices in life when money is our motivational force. Our motivational force ought to be passion. But this is lost from the moment we step into a system that trains us rather than inspires us. We are more than robotic bookshelves, conditioned to blurt out facts we were taught in school. We are all very special. Every human on this planet is so special. So aren't we all deserving of something better? Of using our minds for innovation rather than memorization, for creativity rather than futile activity, for rumination rather than stagnation? We are not here to get a degree, to then get a job, so we can consume industry-approved publication after publication. There is more and more still. The saddest part is that the majority of students don't have the opportunity to reflect as I did. The majority of students are put through the same brainwashing techniques in order to create a complacent labor force working in the interests of large corporations and secretive government. And worst of all, they are completely unaware of it. I will never be able to turn back these 18 years. I can't run away to another country with an education system meant to enlighten rather than condition. This part of my life is over, and I want to make sure that no other child will have his or her potential suppressed by powers meant to exploit and control. We are human beings. We are thinkers, dreamers, explorers, artists, writers, engineers. We are anything we want to be, but only if we have an educational system that supports us rather than holds us down. A tree can grow, but only if its roots are given a healthy foundation. For those of you out there that must continue to sit in desks and yield to the authoritarian ideologies of instructors, do not be disheartened. You still have the opportunity to stand up, ask questions, be critical, and create your own perspective. Demand a setting that will provide you with intellectual capabilities that allow you to expand your mind instead of directing it. Demand that you be interested in class. Demand that the excuse, "you have to learn this for the test," is not good enough for you. Education is an excellent tool if used properly, but focus more on learning rather than getting good grades. For those of you that work within the system that I am condemning, I do not mean to insult. I intend to motivate. You have the power to change the incompetencies of this system. I know that you did not become a teacher or administrator to see your students bored. You cannot accept the authority of the governing bodies that tell you what to teach, how to teach it, and that you will be punished if you do not comply. Our potential is at stake. For those of you that are now leaving this establishment, I say, do not forget what went on in these classrooms. Do not abandon those that have come after you. We are the new future, and we are not going to let tradition stand. We will break down the walls of corruption to let a garden of knowledge grow throughout America. Once educated properly, we will have the power to do anything. And best of all, we will only use that power for good, for we will be cultivated and wise. We will not accept anything at face value. We will ask questions, and we will demand truth. So here I stand. I am not standing here as valedictorian by myself. I was molded by my environment, by all my peers who are sitting here watching me. I couldn't have accomplished this without all of you. It was all of you who truly made me the person I am today. It was all of you who were my competition yet my backbone. In that way, we are all valedictorians. I am now supposed to say farewell to this institution, those who maintain it, and those who stand with me and behind me. But I hope this farewell is more of a see you later, when we are all working together to rear a pedagogic movement. But first, let's go get those pieces of paper that tell us that we're smart enough to do so. All right. So I guess I'll talk about mostly the reactions to that because that's the biggest question I usually get. What happened was I got a pretty big round of applause, which was nice. I wasn't expecting that. I was a lot more nervous in that setting than this one, of course, because this one everyone believes what I say and really understands where I'm coming from. But in that one, no one has really been introduced to this idea. They all think that their children are getting a great education and, they're graduating and going on to the next step of their life and it's going to be great in college and they're going to get good jobs and be successful. And then I'm there just kind of saying, no, that's not really how it is. But
Did anybody ask to preview the speech I was going to
Oh, yeah. Well, my principal actually wanted a copy of all the speeches that were going to be presented, so I sent in a fake speech.
At what point during your speech did his face go from, I'm proud of my valedictorian to, oops?
Well, yeah, my principal, she was sitting behind me, so I didn't really know what she was doing, but in the video that my younger brother took, you could just see her kind of like looking like, like not really thinking that, I don't know, she was just trying to kind of ignore the situation mostly, and they were just, I could tell like the administration behind me were just kind of
getting tense.
Waiting for me to be done, basically. And I did notice my guidance counselor afterwards, she spoke after me, and like what she was saying was basically like, we're all proud of our students, and like she would really emphasize that to kind of like make everyone feel better after me. Like I was kind of throwing everyone under the bus or like saying that they weren't good enough as students, but I wasn't, but I think that's how they took it.
So the applause was from the students. Did the students get it?
Well, yeah, I mean, it was the same, it was kind of like half and half, I think. The applause, there were applause from the students and from the people in the audience, and when I went to go sit down, I actually got a high five from one of the students who actually, like, he's an awesome guy. Like, he has Asperger's, so of course, like, he went through this whole system, like, being targeted as someone who's different, and like the teachers didn't really appreciate him, even though he's completely brilliant. So like he totally loved what I said. And then there were other students as well that came up to me afterwards and really understood it and were so proud of me for being courageous enough to say it, because like they wish they could have said it as well. And then there were also students that were offended and gave me like snarling comments as well. So it was really half and half. Do you have a question?
What was the fake speech you gave to them?
I mean, I have that one on my computer too. But I don't know. It's really not worth reading. It's like, I just kind of got it off the internet as yeah, it's like a sample model's valedictorian speech. So I just like, I kind of like put in things that made sense to my school and then like sent it in. So it was funny actually, on the rehearsal day, I was supposed to practice my speech in front of my principal. And I was like, I don't have my speech with me. And she's like, oh, it's okay, I have it right here. So I'm standing there reading this fake speech, something I would never ever say. And it was just the whole, like, I'm the only one in my mind knowing that it's fake. And all the other speech givers are just kind of like, this is boring like usual. And I'm like, oh, you just wait and see.
So did you confide in anyone? Did anybody know?
I did tell a few people like right before graduation because I didn't want it to like really get out too much. I told like a couple really close friends, and I read it to one of my friends' families because they're pretty mainstream, and I wanted to at least like get their opinion. And they're like, since they like me as a person, they didn't like completely disown me because of it, but they said, you know, this is really depressing. Maybe you should make it like a little nicer, like friendly toward the graduation process. But so I did. I worked on it a little bit, but mostly I kept my same guideline.
Did you tell your family?
Yeah, I told my dad originally. I said, so Dad, what do you think would happen if I said something that the school didn't like? Do you think my principal is going to take me off stage? And he like immediately was really upset, like, no, you shouldn't do that. You know, you shouldn't upset anybody. This is a ceremony that's supposed to be celebratory and positive, and you know, you're not supposed to make it bad or draw attention to yourself. And then I actually like told him what I was trying to say, and I gave him like that kind of the beginnings of what I was writing down, and he kind of started warming up to it and saying, all right, well, I mean, if you're really passionate about this, go for it. You know, I support you. And after the speech, I think he was really proud of me, and like a lot of people came up to him congratulating him, like other parents that believed the same thing. So I'm sure he didn't regret it at all.
What made you send in the fake one?